My name is Giovanna and I'm an accredited mental health social worker currently working as a critical incident and trauma counsellor. I absolutely adore my job, but I guess like any other work, this job can sometimes be mentally, physically and emotionally draining. It's very important to self-care, and the basic fundamental ways to self-care are by eating well, having good quality sleep, staying connected with others and exercise in order to get the positive endorphins running through your body. Scientists have predicted that humans can have 6,000 to 12,000 thoughts per day, but they pop in and out of our minds. It's like when you blow bubbles. The bubbles float in the air and then they pop. But what do you do when those thoughts don't pop away? I like to engage in hobbies. I'm a bird photographer. I love to be amongst nature. I do filmmaking and I'm also a musician. I'm in a band and I score music for movies. My hobbies have things in common. They keep me connected to other people who are like-minded. It gives me a creative outlet, making me forget all about my current stresses, whether they be from work or at home. Research shows that hobbies can decrease the symptoms of stress, depression, anxiety, and other mental health conditions. Hobbies can come in many different forms and they don't have to cost a lot of money. This documentary is to take a look at what other people do for hobbies and why they do them.
G'day, my name's Nathan. I am a cabinet maker. I've been a cabinet maker for about 30 years. The stresses that I get from it, obviously certain jobs you do get stale. Fortunately I work for a good company now, which always makes a difference. I think the biggest stresses that you get is us cabinet makers are always pretty much the last ones in to finalise everything to get it done before handover and all that stuff. So it can be pretty hard physically because you're lifting a lot of cabinets and so forth, and obviously your standard driving home, you get tired, so they cause a little bit of stress. The hobbies I like to do is I'm a creative person. So I make films, and making films, it just breaks you away from the everyday lifestyle. So yeah, it gets me away. It sort of takes me to another place.
Knock knock.
G'day. How you going?
Good.
Take a seat.
How are you going, Nathan?
Yeah, good.
That's good. So tell me, what's happening here?
Well, this is a film that I finished. It was a psychological thriller type film. And what I'm doing at the moment is I'm going through part of the special effects that was involved, because I've downloaded a Blockbuster starter pack, and it's got all these different things like lasers and shots and see all this?
Oh yeah, that looks cool.
And explosions and...
Right. It looks like this would be quite a lot of work to put a project together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you kind of feel tired at the thought of you go to work, have a busy full day there, come home tired and then get back to work again?
Well, I do not regard this as work.
Okay.
To me this switches off from work, and it's obviously the thing that you say, if you love what you're doing.
So why do you do all this?
I just love it. I love the creative side of things, you know, like this is my third short film. To be acknowledged by winning awards for it as well, I've got chills. It's just such a good feeling.
What do you like about directing?
My vision.
Yep.
I guess the vision of what I want, but also working with a good team always helps as well. So it's just good fun.
Yeah.
It's like a family environment, you know. So it's really good.
So it sounds like you like being involved with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not an isolated...
I'm a pretty good people person.
Yeah, okay. That's good.
I think the biggest downfall about making a film is on the last day, the full wrap of the film, it's like, it just cuts everything, you know, because you've been surrounded by good people. Yeah, it's sad. It's a sad feeling. That's one of the worst things about making a film, I think, so.
Is it like withdrawal? So you're around
Yeah.
so many people doing so many things and then suddenly it finishes?
Yeah.
So for you, your hobbies give you a sense of achievement by the sounds of it, and
Yeah.
you like being around people. Tell me what life would feel like without your hobby.
I wouldn't even like to think that, to be honest, I'd be empty. It'd be horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plain and simple. It'd just be horrible.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't want to even think about that.
Yeah, right, okay, so that's what it means to you. Yeah.
Well, this is my, what I call honour wall. This here is my first film called Jimmy. This film here I did with Priscilla Catania. She did an amazing job and she won countless awards on that. And we both won Best Short Film a few times. So getting the short films, you know, awards and stuff just gives you more, you know, excitement to do more. And this is the new one called Hex. And that's won countless awards as well.
After speaking with Nathan, it was evident to see what his hobbies meant to him. Not only did he seem to really enjoy the finished product and getting awards for his work, the main thing seemed to be being connected with other people. Let's see if Sue shares his sentiments.
Hi, my name is Sue. I'm married with 3 children, a dog and a cat, and I work as an early childhood educator.
Hi Sue, thank you so much for having me here today.
Hi Giovanna, it's my pleasure.
What age group do you look after?
I look after toddlers, so that's 2 to 3 year old children.
So you'll definitely have your hands full.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Plus I'm the room leader, so I've got to do planning and mentor staff, things like that. So
Yeah. What do you enjoy about doing that job?
I think just to see the children's faces every day, the hugs we get, it's more about the engaging with the children that I love best.
Yeah.
Of course we have to do paperwork and things like that. That can be really tedious, I suppose you'd say sometimes, but...
So would you say that that's part of the stresses of the job?
That's part of the stresses, yeah.
Yeah, the administration.
The admin side of it.
I think a lot of people will agree with you there.
Yes, I think so. But
Yeah.
we have to do it, so...
Yeah. So on a really difficult day, say you come home from work, you're feeling exhausted, you're feeling a little bit stressed, what are the type of things that you do to kind of de-stress?
To de-stress, I have pets, I engage with those, take the dog for a walk just to get out in the fresh air. My main stress release is doing a cross stitch.
Okay.
It's a hobby I started many, many years ago. My father first bought me a cross stitch kit that he found in a shop, and I sat down and did it. Took me a little while, but for some reason it just clicked. And
Okay.
I found it very relaxing, very enjoyable, and just to see that finished product, I thought, wow. So I went ahead and bought more kits, and it's just continued.
That's fantastic. So are you one of those people that it has to be perfect?
Yes,
Okay.
I am. I
So
am.
does that cause a bit of stress when you do the tapestry?
Not really. Like, I sort of think, oh no, I've got to change it. I can't leave a mistake in there. So I have been known to sit there and pull back
Okay.
things. I don't know why. It just feels calming for me.
Okay.
Even going back and unpicking mistakes, then redoing it, and I think, yeah, that's better. I'm happy with that now. But I cannot leave a cross stitch pattern with a mistake in it, because I know.
Yeah.
Other people
sure.
wouldn't know, but I know. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's okay. Sitting down actually stitching is very therapeutic to me.
Okay.
It's my escape. I just forget about everything because I'm concentrating on what I'm doing. I can sit there for hours and not even realise the time's gone.
That's great.
So
That's really, really good.
it's very good.
So tell me, what would life look like without your hobby?
Without my hobby, I think I would be crazy.
Like Nathan, Sue discussed enjoying seeing the finished product. But the key word for me was the calming and therapeutic purposes her hobby has for her. Let's see what Tony has to say about his hobbies. Hi Tony.
Hey G, how are you?
Good, thank you so much for having me here today.
Yes, you're more than welcome. Yeah, thanks for coming.
So tell me, what do you do during the day?
During the day, I am a study bug, and I'm working hard away, chipping away at my Master of Marketing Communications degree at one of the major unis in Melbourne.
Okay, sounds good.
It is very good, yeah.
If you had to rate stress and anxiety during exam and assignment time, what would you rate it on a level of 0 to 10, 10 being really stressful?
A 13.
A 13?
A 13.
So if I was a fly on the wall, during your exam time, during your study period, how would I see you act?
During those times, I'm very systematic and I'm very, very controlled and structured. So, you know, I'll come in, if you're flying the wall, you'll see me come in at bright and early. I'll set up my food and my drink. I'll have I've got a little egg timer, which I study for an hour at a time and have a bit of a break. I'm pretty organised. I've got a whiteboard with writing and all my printed notes, and I just make sure I've got everything I need to get the job done.
What do you do when you need to wind down, have a break from studies, or maybe straight after exams? How do you wind down and feel better?
During the exams and stuff, I tend to sort of isolate a little bit, and I go into a bit of a cave in my little zone and world, and the cost of that is social times at times. So I definitely want to, first things I do is get back in touch with my friends and hang out and sort of, you know, get in touch with reality again. But I also pick back up on, you know, things that make me happy, like my hobbies and stuff that I'll cut back on.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of those are my jiu-jitsu and living at the gym.
Right, okay. Tell me about jiu-jitsu first.
Okay, wow. So I'm 42 at the moment, and I entered martial arts when I was 27. I was doing like an MMA kind of art that had a taste of everything, and part of that was jiu-jitsu. One day, I remember I had a big guy on top of me, and I swept him and he flipped. And if you didn't know that I trained jiu-jitsu and saw him, you'd be like, there's no way you could get that guy over. But it's all about leveraging momentum. And I thought, so there is an act to this. And it was from that point on, I stopped training all the MMA stuff and went down the jiu-jitsu route. Look, jiu-jitsu is challenging in itself, and that's what's so attractive about the art. Is it's about problem solving. It's about beating yourself. You know, not so much beating everyone else. It's just beating your own self, and that mentally toughens you up, not only to deal with anything that life throws at you, because you've been through hell with training, but also when you're out there competing and things get tough, you just go back to those sort of hard times, and it gets you through.
So you mentioned before how when you're in that really heavy study period, how you isolate yourself. Tell me about your jiu-jitsu friends. Do you form a strong bond with them?
Very, very strong bond, and we go through hell together when we train, with blood, sweat and tears. Honestly, we've had injuries, savage injuries, and you know, we injure each other, but we're still best mates, you know.
Yeah. So what does it do to your soul?
I feel good. I feel accomplished. I feel, you know, when you set your mind to something, you can really achieve anything.
Good.
Anything you want.
So I've been asking everybody this question: life without your hobbies, what would it look like?
My goodness. I wouldn't feel as confident in many sticky situations out in the public. So.
Tony spoke about how his hobbies helped him remain physically and mentally challenged. He liked the self-determination his hobbies gave him. Let's see what Priscilla has to say about her hobbies. Hi Priscilla.
Hey G.
Thank you for having me here today.
That's okay.
So, tell me about this beautiful studio. What do you do?
So I do hair and beauty. So I have 2 staff working for me. I have an apprentice and a fully qualified. So yeah, this area here is where we do all the hair. And I also do massage and healing in the back room.
Oh, right.
So I do Reiki in that room after hours. So that's really good for me to just kind of calm down.
What would be the type of things that would get you a little stressed at times?
Time. I'm always time poor. So we are always quite busy. And being a mum of 3, it's kind of, you know, take the kids to school, drop them off, come to work, and it is go, 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 go. Sometimes we have 3 people in here, sometimes we have 6 to 7.
Wow.
So it just really depends on how the day is, but that is really stressful when we're running a little bit behind. So now having the massage and Reiki, it allows my clients to come in and really relax, and that's what hairdressing is all about. When you come and get your hair done, you want to feel relaxed.
What made you want to get into Reiki?
So my mum was diagnosed with brain cancer. It was actually called meningioma, which is a benign tumour. But it, I guess, became very aggressive as time kind of lapsed, and it became to a point where they then diagnosed as brain cancer.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
In 2008, I fell pregnant with my first son, Marcus, and she was acting really weird. I thought she was going through a divorce at the time with my father, and I thought that she was depressed. Everybody thought that she was depressed because of the way her personality had kind of changed. She wasn't talking much, she was doing odd things, smoking in the house where she would never smoke in the house. So her personality had changed, but we thought it was because of depression. But in hindsight, we were unaware that she had a brain tumour, massive brain tumour in her head. You know, when somebody's personality changes, the first thing you think of is, oh, you know, she's changed.
Yeah.
Little do you know that there's actually probably something in their brain that is changing them. Yeah.
So that must have been a really difficult time for you.
Yeah.
How did that affect you? It's okay, take your time.
It was the hardest thing I ever gone through. Because before my mum's last operation, we had a lawyer come down and she asked my mum what her wishes were. And my mum said to me, she doesn't want to be a vegetable and she doesn't want to be put in a home. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. And to watch her be bed-bound, wheelchair-bound, can't feed herself, can't talk to her grandkids, can't tell me how she feels, it was really hard.
So what are the type of things that you did after your mum passed? What kind of things did you do to get yourself through grief?
I got into my art, so I would go to the aged care home, I would come home, go in the garage, and I would just start painting. It didn't matter what I was painting, as long as I was dipping the brush in the paint and putting it on the canvas, I was happy with that. And then it kind of just evolved. So I found that the artwork was taking my mind off everything and I was getting a bit lost in what I was doing, and that gave me peace. So I started teaching myself different ways of doing art, and now I'm a resident artist. So
fantastic, that's really good. Thank you for sharing all that. I know it's really hard talking about your mum. I know what she meant to you. When you did your artwork, do you think you used colours that reflected on how you were feeling at the time?
Yes, I'll go and get some paints together and I'll use fluoro colours just to try and get myself out of that depressed state, that feeling that you're not happy. You know, unless you've been through depression, you probably won't understand what I'm saying, but sometimes you can just be in a particular mood and there's no reason for it. So I try to push myself to go and do some art, so that way it calms the mind down and tries to balance the emotions and focus on something bright and colourful to try and change your mood, basically. It's very therapeutic because you're not thinking about anything.
So tell me, life without your painting and artwork, what would it feel like for you?
Depression, basically, because that's my outlet. If I don't have my art or have any hobbies, you're just stuck in everyday life. You get up, you go to work, you come home, you cook, you clean, you're with your family, you get up and you repeat it all over again. So having your hobbies is really important, and if someone doesn't have a hobby, I think they should find one, because it really can help you in so many different ways. I'd be lost without them.
Like Sue, Priscilla discussed how her hobbies help her therapeutically, and they helped her through the grieving process. I'm very keen to speak with my next guest, Lorraine. She talks about how her hobbies help her through retirement. So, I understand that you're currently retired. What did you used to do before retirement?
I had around 45 years in the corporate world. I started off as a recruiter, then Telstra, and then back into recruitment as a bid manager, because I'd gone into bid management with Telstra. Loved it. It was writing, it was editing, proofreading, which I absolutely love.
Okay, so writing, you're definitely in the writing industry.
Yeah.
So what do you do with yourself now?
Crazy stuff. I do some freelance editing, proofreading, which I really enjoy. I do some rewriting, so a client will send me a document and say, look, this is an old document, can you rewrite it so that it's in the now?
During a normal day, if anything is going to be a stressor for you, what would it be?
Not having any work to do.
So feeling restless at home, like not being busy?
Not being busy, not being, for me it's all about being wanted, needed, and purpose, having a purpose, having things to do, and my mind being active.
Right, okay.
I'm not good at being
dormant, just watching TV.
It's not me.
Do you have any hobbies?
Well, it used to be dancing, ballroom dancing, competitive ballroom dancing. I'd love to say it still is, but since my partner retired, and since COVID, and since I'm retired, I don't have the income to be able to afford to do what I want to do, which is sad. But I'm still on the board of Dance Sport Victoria,
right?
So I'm still very much involved. Other hobbies, writing, acting of course.
What do you like about acting?
A tyre shop that comes to you. When the owner mentioned this might be possible, I told him this was a wonderful idea. When I was tiny, somebody would read me a story, Dad would read me a bedtime story, and as soon as he went out and the door closed, I'd jump out of bed and I'd act it out.
So performing arts is your thing? Dancing, acting, writing, so you write scripts?
Scripts, poetry, short stories.
Yeah. So when you do those things, how does it make you feel?
Comfortable. It's very natural.
And so you were saying that before, that you like to keep your mind busy. So does improv keep you busy?
Oh yeah.
That's one of the things. It keeps you on your toes, doesn't it? I understand that you did the TV show Fire.
Fire, I was so lucky to get that. It was magical. Got a call from my agent telling me that I had an audition. It was actually, the first one was a self-test audition, which we all love.
Yes.
And I thought I was terrible. I thought, that's it, right? Nothing will happen from that. Then I got called in for an in-person audition. And I couldn't believe it when I got cast. I can remember standing waiting for it, we're about to do a take, and I was standing there sort of just getting to character, so you sort of be there, and everything goes away. Everything around you doesn't exist. It's just you're on location, but you're in the moment. You're in the role.
So I really like how you said that it brings you in the moment. So you don't think of anything else in your life at that.
Nothing exists.
Quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Life without hobbies. What would that feel like for you?
It couldn't be. I mean, I'd always find something. That's the whole thing. I mean, if something closes down, like my dancing, if that has to end, well then it goes in a different direction. I find something else. There is never a time, and in fact I have to say, if somebody says to you, oh, I've got nothing to do with my life, well, I'm sorry, create it.
Lorraine expressed how her hobbies gave her a great sense of purpose through retirement. What I really enjoyed about talking to her was how she discussed how when her funds became limited, she didn't quit hobbies, she just changed the course of her hobbies. She really understands how hobbies can help a person stay connected to others and keep the brain stimulated. Our next guest, Mark, discussed how his hobbies give him a good sense of work-life balance.
Hi, my name is Mark Moray, and during the day I am a medical receptionist. I work at helping out nephrologists mainly, people who come to see specialists to do with their kidneys.
Hello, Mark.
Hi Giovanna, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
That's good. Well, thank you so much for letting me have a little bit of a chat to you today.
It's a great pleasure.
What are some of the stresses that you experience on a daily basis, would you say?
Well, because there's only a couple of us staff, myself and another member, what we do is we answer the phones, arrive our patients that come in to see the specialists.
Yes.
Answer to emails, answer the phones to other doctors, and it can be a bit overwhelming because it happens so much. We actually manage about 18 different doctors, not on site, but over a period of a week or 2 weeks, we'll manage that many doctors that do consult out of the rooms that I work in.
Right.
And from that, we take all sorts of calls. Probably the one thing that becomes a bit more stressed or hits the nerve a bit is when we hear of patients that we've built a bit of a relationship with passed away in hospital because of the disease that they might have or cancer.
Yeah.
And so that becomes very distressing.
Yeah, I imagine it would be. So when you feel really stressed, what do you do when you go home to kind of de-stress?
Music, listen to music.
Okay, that's good. So you're a bit of a music fan?
Yeah, I love music. I play with the dog and talk to my wife.
Yeah,
So.
oh, that's good. That's very therapeutic.
Yes.
Awesome. So I can see that you're a photographer. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do?
Okay. So I started doing photography probably back in the late 70s. When I was studying, I was doing an art and design course to build up a portfolio to become an interior designer.
Right.
In doing that, one of my courses, subjects, was photography.
Fantastic. So when you do photography, how does it make you feel?
Oh, I love it, especially because I specialise in music photography. So, yeah, so I specialise taking photos at concerts, gigs, music festivals. And if I'm lucky, I'll do the odd occasion photo shoot with the band. And so if I can join the two together, which is music and photography, I just love it.
Great.
I just really love it.
So why photography and not, say, playing a sport?
I wanted to be a sports person.
Oh, did you?
Yes, but I suppose back in the days I played many sports as a kid and a teenager. It's just there was a difference of those who could make it in the real world of the talent that they had. I think it was because I was always creative. I always had a creative mind, and that's why I wanted to do interior design. I always wanted to look at how places would look like, and so that's it. And photography is just another medium of being creative.
Yes, right. So it's like a creative outlet.
Correct.
And it combines your love of music.
Yes.
And I imagine it's a bit of a solo activity, is it? Or do you have a photography club that you're part of?
Interesting that you asked me that now. Asked me that a week ago, or 2 weeks ago, I would have said no.
Okay.
I've actually just joined a club. It's called the Melbourne Camera Club.
Fantastic.
And I've been twice, so I love it because there are different aspects of the camera club, different groups that you can join and learn. And I just want to, I suppose, explore different avenues of photography, not just music. I think when you have a passion for something and you're able to sit and discuss things with other people that is to do with the passion, that it's not something that I discuss at work or with my friends. So because of that, it's not a day-to-day thing I discuss with anyone.
Yeah.
To have a group of people that I can sit down and
Yeah,
just
sure.
work out what we're doing. They have guest speakers, and
Fantastic.
it's just wonderful.
That's great. So, say for example, you've had a really rotten week, and it's just been one thing after another that's been really difficult. When you do photography, do you think of work?
No.
Okay.
No.
So it literally separates you from...
I can be exhausted, ready to go to bed. And that's one of the things about doing photography, well, bands doing that, gigs and things like that is, or even concerts, is that they start late at night.
Yeah.
So even there I have to get in early. So if I finish work at 5:30 or 6 and I've done a big day's work, to come home to suddenly feel exhausted and a lot of them are on Thursday or Friday nights. So at the end of a week, but once I get in the car and I have the camera gear with me, it's like I've got a boost of energy. And once I step inside the venue, well, I could go on for hours.
What would you recommend to people who don't have hobbies? What would you say to those people?
Find something that you enjoy the most, and then see if there is a club associated with that. That would be the first thing I would do. Just find something, whether it's walking, whether it's playing an instrument, cooking, whatever it is that gives you that bit of enjoyment. Find a club that will be able to assist you and join it.
Great. That's because a lot of people say, oh, but you know, I've had a busy week, and by the time I get home and I feed the kids and I've just got no time. If you're really tired, you'll sit on the couch or fall asleep in front of the TV. But if you've got somewhere to go, you get your second wind, don't you?
Yes, certainly. No matter what, I think if you just find something you enjoy the most, just find the club. I mean, even things if you love your dog and you love walking your dog, maybe go to the park. You'll see so many people with their dogs. Find people that do work out ways of going for walks with your dogs with other people. At my local council, the Glen Ira Council, last year was looking for some local person to fulfill their gallery. So they've got two galleries. They've got a smallish gallery 2, and one large gallery. And they were looking for someone that they wanted to fill. I sent a few photos of my photography there, not thinking much of it. Then they got back to me and they said, we like your work. Did you do any in the sort of Glen Ira area? And I said, well, I did, but a lot of the venues had closed during COVID.
Of course.
Does it matter? And they said no. And I said, okay. So then they said, well, we'd like you to meet the curator. So I went there and I took my 6 photos that I presented that they said that they liked, and just said, okay, where on the walls am I putting my 6 photos? And they said, no, you've got a solo exhibition. Oh,
wow.
So
it's a nice validation too that your work has improved and is really good.
And after 2 weeks of it, they asked me whether I wanted to do one in 2024, but a larger exhibition. I think what made me take my photography seriously was I have a friend who's in the business. I sent him photos of of the gigs that I did. And anyway, I got a call from a guy called Martin Jones, who was the publisher and owner of Rhythms magazine. And this is in 2014. And he loved my photos of the Rolling Stones. And so he wanted to publish them with an article of the Rolling Stones. But probably one of the highlights of any publication I've had was when I was called up by the manager of the late, great Uncle Archie Roach, who saw one of my photos and wanted to know whether they could use it for the front cover of their program for his funeral.
I've been asking everybody this question, and I like to end the interview this way. Life without your hobby, what would it look like?
Photography to me is just a medium of my creativity. So it's not so much life without photography. For me, it'd be life without being creative.
Okay.
And if I can't be creative, I would be in a sad world for me.
It was interesting to hear how Mark's activities turned from a solo activity into a group activity, and also how it led to further opportunities and publications. Let's see what our next guest Maria has to say about her hobbies. Hi Maria, thank you for letting me interview you today.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks. So I noticed you had such a beautiful garden walking in here today.
Yeah, we take a long time to create like this.
So I understand that you work with mentally disabled people. What are the type of stresses that you might experience in the workplace?
I think I work when if something go wrong, and I go to bed, I keep thinking what the clients go upset for, and I think what could be, because they're verbal.
They're non-verbal.
Yeah, they're not can't talk, but I have to work why they play up or what the sign they give it to me, what they mean, and until I work out myself what's wrong, and then the next time I do it, I try what I think next time not to happen, and to work better.
So because they're non-verbal, you have to try to figure out why they're upset and what they need.
I'm talking myself.
Yeah. So what kind of things do you do at home to relax and get away from your work? What do you do?
I do a lot my plants, my garden when I'm stressed, shopping. Of course, I can't spend the money.
Yeah, you buy plants.
Yeah, but more relaxing my garden when I'm upset inside the house, and I got more garden, do pots, flower, or sometimes I have nothing to do. I go to the bunnies, I see flowers and look hours and hours to look. At the end, I buy something. I come home and do the rest. I do potting.
Good.
Potting or hanging, or I look around the garden where I can put the plants.
So when you are in the garden, how does it make you feel?
Relax. I switch off everything what I got in my head, and I think about the position where I have to put the plants, or if the tree. I love the bonsai tree too, and I make a little bit course, and I think which way they have to bend in to look like a bonsai, and take hours and hours, pass my time. And when I finish that, I go to every morning to look how the plant is growing. And or the dog, I play a little bit with the dogs. And the tree, the plants, look around if they're grown well, if I have a flower. And when I have a flower, make me really excited.
Very excited. So when you're in the garden, you don't think of any of the stresses, you just think of plants.
Yeah, plants and the garden. I do pieces by pieces. If somebody touch a plant, I know been touched.
Ah, okay. And so I noticed that you've got some outdoor beds. So do you go outside and sleep?
Yes, when I feel very, very tired, I can't handle it anymore. My body is really aching and I need to rest. I can't rest inside the house, not even in bed. I go there, and even the noise of the birds, they put me to sleep.
Oh, that's really nice. That's really nice. And I understand that recently you won a community gardening competition.
2019. Yes, I win the best garden on Whittlesea.
That's so good. And what did you get? A certificate?
And I've got a certificate, and I think $600 a voucher.
Wow.
Bunnies.
So did you use that on plants?
I make it for the garden, for the back garden, for frame and for the tree and for tomatoes and things like that.
Good. So I've been asking everybody this question. What would life be like without your hobby of gardening?
Well, I think so. If you're not having no hobby or no garden and nothing, the life will be miserable because you don't feel boring, you don't feel like it to do nothing, you feel like it to sleepy, don't feel like it to wash your face, don't feel like to dress up yourself, don't want to contact with people. It's a lot of things you can be happen.
So after speaking to everybody in the interview, The benefits of hobbies seem to have been gave them a new or different focus, taught them something new, self-development and personal goals and challenges, sense of purpose, decreased stress and anxiety, separated them from work stresses in their day, gave them a sense of achievement, found it rewarding, allowed them to focus on something other than daily pressures and chores, and connection with others. So if you used to do a hobby, but have kind of let it go over the years, maybe it's time to revisit it. Or if you don't have any hobbies at all, maybe now is a good time for you to start researching the type of things that you could be doing and really enjoy the process of exploring and experimenting with different type of activities until you find the one that you enjoy best. So now it's time for me to practice what I preach, let go of today, and start my hobby for the evening. One more thing. Happy hobbying!